right. Well, good morning. Another episode of Yes Way Jose. And before we start, we always got to do that one thing. What email address do we have for this fine podcast?
It's yeswayjosemail@gmail.com.
Yeah, the echo works just right for you guys. I think if you guys keep working at it, you get really good. Then you get like Eli has
it's like a harmony.
Yeah, but he hasn't shown up for like 7 episodes, and so when he does come back, they got to practice. You guys,
it gets a little loose. Sometimes.
It gets a little loose. Doesn't get connected really well. But Eli, good morning to you.
Morning. Hey, right now, I would have shown up for the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, and the sun was in my eyes when I dropped that baseball. Just throwing that out there. I mean, I tripped over a blade of grass. We can go for whatever. Excuse me. No, listen, we're glad to have you back. And listen, thank you all for listening to our podcast. And you get to see our pretty faces. Mm-hmm. I've got actually a prettier face as a guest than mine. So that wasn't much of a barrier, was it?
What? You got a prettier face?
I got a guest that's got a prettier face. Okay, so for everybody on the episode, these guys have been with me. I'm talking 100 miles an hour. Like you think they would have picked up on French after all this time.
Yeah. That's the funny thing.
You two more than else.
He likes to talk so fast that he just trips his words up. That's the funniest part.
Now, I have done that a couple times, and you pointed out both those, and don't do that again.
I got to do it.
No, because if I have to fire you, then I have nobody running the podcast because he's never here.
I have to point it out for the audio listeners so they know. I have to translate.
Yeah, you're the translator. Yeah, we've got our mayor translator. He's going to slow it down to about 35 miles an hour. Well, anyway, good morning, and obviously we're glad to have everybody actually listen and watch the podcast. But the biggest thing for us is we have so many moving pieces. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of projects going on, so we're trying to keep you updated on each of these. And one of the things we tried to do because of everybody's time and getting guests to sit down with us, we've done a lot of episodes, right? We got a lot of podcasts coming up, and then what we're going to do is we're actually having these podcasts. And by the way, this will be Halloween. So we're trying to make sure we bring them back into context a little bit. Yeah. So for everybody listening, just stay with us on that. We're going to try to keep them more closer to the time. And we're working on our schedule, and it's probably all my fault. Is that about right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Usually.
Okay. Yeah. I'm fine with that.
I've even got the guest right now working with the staff against me. We're going to have a coup here on the Yes Way Jose program. No, but I do think it's important. We're trying to keep you updated, but we bring in a lot of folks that keep doing the shaking, moving in the community, and we're excited for that. But obviously, Aquatic Center. Just start the first time.
You just had to bring it up.
I have to again. That's
no context. Just
Aquatic Center.
Aquatic Center.
The Aquatic Center will have pools with water.
Yes, and if you don't understand how exciting it is for us to continue to talk about it, just go over there and watch a wall being erected over there. It's really kind of cool for us. But anyway, we have a lot of things always going on. Our schedule is full all year long. We're putting all kinds of cool things on. This episode will be after we have a St. Patty's block party, which is going to be great. We did one in the fall. And I think for us, when we start looking at what we're doing in the city, we're just going to keep doing a lot of this.
I was going to say during the spring, that's when everything starts really kicking off.
Yeah, and everybody was good. But I get excited about the spring because I like working in the yard.
I get excited about the spring because I'm tired of it being cold.
Especially this year.
Yeah.
It was a rough year, right? Can we all say that? Anyway, so it was a different year because we really had such warm winters for a long time, and we had a little bit more snow. We had some really
rain. It just never stopped.
And around here we don't like rain, especially being in the floodplain. So we struggle with that in the flooding here. I think people did really well with it. We were fortunate enough not to have Buckman actually flooded. That would have been a really interesting thing because I'm still working on the traffic on 65.
Oh, you're still working on it?
Yeah, I just haven't bought the whistle to get out there and actually direct it.
It's only 2 ways. It's just two ways, isn't it?
Well, somehow I'm not fixing it. So I can do a better job of I-65. And, I'm going to continue to do some of these things like this because we know if it's on Facebook, it's true.
5 lanes on each side.
Yeah, they're actually looking at 4 lanes over the next 10 years.
Are they? Really?
That is true.
Yeah, that's going to happen. It's got to happen because you got between Louisville and at least the E-Town. It may even go as far as Bowling Green.
Yeah.
Because of just the traffic on this road. And there's really not as many outlets. But when you get to Shepherdsville, there's not many options at all. So for that, we got a lot of good things going on. Yes, I'm still excited about everything we're doing. And now a lot of things are starting to come to fruition. And by the time that this episode comes out, we'll have maybe the skate park about halfway done.
Yeah.
Next door.
Probably.
Yeah. So we're pretty excited about that too. So anyway, we have a guest that we've had on before. She's kind of a right-hand person for me. She's one of the folks that I lean on a lot when we talk about what's going on in the community. She knows everybody. And I think the last time she was on, I think I mentioned if she lived in the city, she'd be mayor.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'd lose in a landslide.
You're lucky.
Yeah. So I'm going to encourage her to get a farm out there and stay out there, and I can keep my job. But honestly, we're really glad to have. We have a special guest who's always been on my right-hand side. And would you like to introduce yourself,
Sure.
Ms. Cortney?
Sure. My name is Courtney Burden. I'm born and raised here in Bullitt County. Graduated from Bullitt Central, fine high school. Spent
Hey,
6
me too.
years. Nice, nice. Spent 6 years in the United States Navy. Spent 2 years living in Sigonella, Sicily. So get to travel a lot, courtesy of Uncle Sam. Worked on.
Yeah, I didn't do that. That's where our comparison ends. It's Bullet Central.
Got a chance to work on fixed wing aircraft, F-14s. That's how old I
think that's really
am.
cool. I think it's really cool.
Yeah,
Those
for
kind of things.
a reference, I was just coming in to the Navy, and F-14 was phasing out. And so, for someone who's watched and lived by Top Gun and the soundtrack, and it's like,
Oh, yeah.
And then you
Yeah.
get there, and so for people who have an aviation or military experience, I'm that old that I actually worked on F-14s. Now they've transitioned to F-18s, are now the old birds. But
I was going to say, 'cause cheerleader, high school, working on planes. I mean, you go from those two type things like, wait, that's really different. So that's pretty cool, though.
yeah. And so I had an amazing time in the military, came home, spent every dollar of my GI Bill. Thank you, United States Navy.
Well deserved,
Got
by
my
the way.
degree, and now I work at a group of ophthalmologists. I work with Kentucky Eye Care, and I love that job. And they are so good to me that they give me some flexibility, which allows me to work for the city and work for the mayor. And what we are doing is so special. I volunteer and do a lot of things with veteran organizations. I spent some time with the chamber, and I love the Chamber of Commerce here in Bullitt County. Man, talk about some influencers and some, change makers. But overall, it just seems like our community's on fire. We are moving in the right direction. We are promoting other businesses. We're promoting philanthropy in a way. Our school systems. We just have a lot to be proud of, and I'm beyond proud to be a part of it.
Yeah, remember we talked about the contagion, not COVID. Contagion is
not that
called
one.
community.
Yeah, right, yeah.
We're not doing COVID.
It's the other C.
It's the
contagion.
other community. And
Yes.
I think when Cortney and I actually talk about what we're doing in the city. We talk a lot about the development. We talked a lot about the quality of life for families, right? We talk a lot about that because we don't want that message to ever be lost. It is why everything is happening like it is. And it's actually happening at a speed of light.
Of light.
I mean, it's
The aquatic center would be done by now if it was the speed of light.
But in government terms,
That's
this
true. That
is
is
the
true.
speed of light.
Yeah,
That is
and
true.
so a lot of it is that folks really want these things. And I was talking to one of the staff members earlier this morning, and we talked about their age group, your age group, the 30s to the 40s, even closer to 50. The point is you've been here and you haven't seen it. Now you're going to see it so much in the next 4 years. So the first 2 years was a lot of what we talked about, meetings and budgeting and designs and all that. But now we're coming up to shovels in the ground, things being happening. We're starting on in the park. We've got a stormwater line we talked about there. And we want to make sure that in these podcasts, we continue to bring that up because you might just pick up on one podcast, but if you
Right.
get to hear the essentials of what's being the progression, right, till we get to the finished product. The finished product will be second time aquatic center. And then and obviously we've got a skate park that'll be built in the end of May of 25. And then we're going to have towards the end of this 25, we're going to have our playground, a lot of it completed over there. You're going to get into the town square. There's going to be a lot done in the spring of 2026. And then obviously the aquatic center is going to be done in the June of 2026. So with that kind of schedule, a lot of community events, things that we talked about. But when Cortney talks about the chamber and some even like our churches and all of the different organizations, they're all coming together. They're part of the solving the problem instead of being the problem.
Yeah.
And that's changed a lot for us. And you can tell, but when that happens, it accelerates all the kind of services that you offer in the community. And one thing I want her to talk a lot more about is, she has been so passionate about our veterans. And I want her to talk a little bit about some of the different events we put on. Her organization she works with, we talked about the Legion, we talked about Active Heroes, but a lot of good things. So, Cortney, just spend a few minutes talking about that. I think it'd be great for people to hear your passion and what you want to see done in our community.
Absolutely. I feel that 2025 is the year for veteran advocacy here in our town. We have so many people really leaning into that community. We have an amazing, very successful VFW. We have an American Legion. We have the Active Heroes nonprofit. And then we have the DAV right here. So we have plenty of organizations with so many resources. So what we're trying to do is align those resources really and just complement each other instead of starting from scratch and saying, okay, we're all going to offer these 6. No, what we're going to do is complement each other. And so the American Legion Post 157, I can't say enough about that group, especially the commander, Bill Laird. He's a Marine. Lisa Laird. There's some world winners, Steve Ailing. What we're doing is working with the VA and bringing the VA out here. We have a very high concentration of veterans in our community, so it's easy to say, hey, VA, come have a town hall. And what we're doing is bringing there maybe 10 or 12 services from the VA will be set up, and then we just invite veterans in our community to come out. So what that does, it prevents them having to leave the county or the city.
Right.
They can stay right here and they can get information about mental health services, home health services. We have so many veterans who do not even understand what they qualify for. Well, this VA town hall is a way that we can accomplish that. Let's show you what you are qualified for and what you have available. We had the last time we had a town hall, I think we had 11, 12 people sign up for a claim for the first time.
Oh, really?
So it's a really big deal.
It's really important.
You've earned these benefits. So if you're listening and you're a family member, if you're a veteran yourself and you are not with the VA, if you have not started that account, let us help you with that because it opens up so many doors.
Yeah, it was really impressive because when we went to that town hall, it was amazing because a lot of these veterans, I mean, they're a little older, kind of like me, you know, and we're not as technically sound, right? We're not as fluent with all that modern day
English.
Yeah, I was like, where are you going with this?
I'm talking about the technology piece, the computers. I mean, we got veterans that have no idea how to
Right.
push a
That's
button on a
true.
computer.
That is true.
Right.
And so when those folks came to this meeting, what they got is basically they got walked right through the process because there's no way they would have done it. I don't know if some of their family members couldn't help them. I don't know. But what I saw was, I mean, right then and there, they walked them right through the process. It was about 10 minutes versus just giving up after 30 minutes, not knowing how to navigate, you know, a website. And so for veterans, that was a big piece. I'd also like her to talk about SAVE.
Oh,
Yeah.
so we also are offering at the different veteran service organizations, there's a class that the VA's been nice enough to donate their time and facilitate, and it's called SAVE, 4 Ways to Help a Veteran in Crisis. And everything is protecting our peace and really raising awareness about mental health in ways that make sense, right? So we are talking about preventing suicide, but what
Right.
we're really talking about is getting someone out of crisis. Although the course label is 4 Ways to Help a Veteran in Crisis, it's 4 ways to help your father who's depressed in crisis. 4 ways to help your teenage kid who's getting bullied at school in crisis. These coping mechanisms and these trigger words that we learn to use or some to not use, it applies to anyone in crisis.
Right, yeah.
And so many veterans are reluctant, right, to come if you say, hey, do you need some help? Come and we're going to help you. No, what we say is, can you come help someone else?
Yeah.
Because if the more educated we are, the more informed we are, and the more comfortable we are about talking about some tough situations, the better off we all will be because we are equipped when that time hits.
Right.
Then we're ready and we're prepared.
You're almost tricking them into knowing how to take care of themselves a little bit.
I will
not tricking them, but, I'm
But
just
it's
saying,
like it's so important because veterans cling to other veterans.
Yeah.
So how important for you to sit there and listen to that to help your buddy, help
Yeah.
your father, help your sister.
And they don't like to ask help for themselves.
No,
most of them, a lot of them,
absolutely
especially
not.
especially them older guys. They're tough.
Yeah. One of the stories that I remember in this SAVE was that if you had a veteran that needed help, don't be shy. Sit next to him. Don't worry if you don't know anything. Just engage.
Right.
And it really does. I mean, not like I have that problem about engaging, but I mean, it does. For a lot of folks, it is something that they will shy away from, thinking they could do more damage than they can actually help.
Yeah.
But just sitting and engaging a veteran just lets them know that somebody's right there listening and talking to them. And that's a big deal. That stood out to me. And one of the techniques and things that they were trying to encourage people to do, don't shy away from that. Show that individual, show that veteran that there's love right next to him. Just sit next to him, just listen, and he or she just, again, be a part of that process. You'd be amazed. It really stood out for me to try to encourage more people. Don't act like there's something wrong with that individual. They just need to engage another human being.
Yeah.
So it's not. Sometimes it's the veterans, but I mean, that's a community that if we continue to keep doing that, there are some that are at different stages of that mentality as far as how they feel about life. Some have had that. Some of the speakers, they've been at that level, and then they've taken themselves away from that part that they feel like the life is the value that they want to keep. Veterans sometimes will struggle with that because they've seen how life has gone that quick.
Yeah.
And that's a piece that we can't associate with that. So a big part of everything that's going on in this community, we talk about all these other things. The veterans is a big piece to us. We have, and by the time this episode, we're going to have our first Vietnam Veterans Parade. It's actually scheduled March 29th. This episode will come out later than that. But we want people to know that that's very, very special to us. because it's not only my father and other folks that have had their parents involved in Vietnam War, but the key in this is being recognized for that. Whether you're still with us or not, we want you to know you should be recognized for your time in a conflict that nobody really supported.
Right.
From a standpoint of the people that live in this community. We've never seen that before.
Yeah, it's not the people who fought in its fault. You know what I
Oh,
mean? Like
gosh.
people blamed the people who fought in it a lot.
You
and
could
it's just
preach that.
It's not their
They
fault.
were
They were
just
just
doing
doing
their
their job. Yeah, I mean,
Most of them, well, not most. Some of them were drafted.
Yeah.
It literally
a
was
lot of
choice.
them didn't agree
No
with what they were
choice
doing.
involved.
Yeah, yeah.
So the Vietnam Veterans Day Parade experience thus far has been one of the most emotional and rewarding experiences of my life. Getting a chance to get to know and hear the stories of, right now we have 57 Vietnam veterans participating in this parade. Either their family is remembering them or they are themselves participating. We have some of them driving their own Studebaker truck.
Oh, really?
You know,
That's really cool.
we have
That's
a ton, but it's just amazing their stories. And it's amazing how they are receiving this opportunity. And so many of them, like, you know, well, I don't want to be recognized. I don't want to be celebrated.
Right,
It's not a celebration. It's honoring your
Right,
service. There's a difference.
Yeah, we're going to have
This
welcome
is
home
not
signs.
right. And so the byproduct, two byproducts of this Vietnam Veterans Day Parade. Number one, the family members have been able to tell their story and really get some. I feel like getting that information out, circulating, knowing that your father's story is not lost in your family. You know,
Yeah.
we're documenting some of these things, and then the other thing, younger generations are learning about what Vietnam is.
Yeah.
What was that war? What is a draft?
Yeah,
There are
right,
so many children, so many kiddos in our school system. They don't even know what a draft is. More or less that your grandfathers were drafted to Vietnam and they served. So I think it's really been an educational opportunity for our whole community. So it's going to be very special. I can't wait.
One of the things that always reminds me about our military, it's a volunteer army.
Yeah.
In a lot of countries, it's not.
No, a lot of places have
sure.
mandatory service.
So
yeah.
we have.
We can do a podcast on my opinion on that.
we could. And then, listen, there's some really good things. We always talk about things that can influence a young man or woman in their lives. We know that a lot of times the military experience has a great impact on that. I think for us in our community, we keep talking about just what's going on with the veterans and how we recognize them. Ought to show that we're an all-encompass community. We talk about our schools. We want to have things to do here. You know, we've got a community that is on the move, right? So when we talk about how it continues to get built and things that are going to be here, let's make sure that everybody's involved in that, because there's a number of things, not just our veterans. We talk about, you know, anybody that's less fortunate. We have a lot of folks that maybe are just one paycheck away from not being in their home.
Yeah.
So, you know, how do we deal with that? How are we working to help them keep that? There are plenty of job opportunities, but how do we get them there? So one of the things that you're going to see happen, we talked a little bit about it last year, but we're looking at public transportation. You know, even as it's a very small scale, but if we can have central locations where you could walk a block to get to a place that we can pick you up, take you to your job, and bring you back. And that's a public-private relationship that we're going to have with businesses. I want her also to talk a little bit about one of the things that we've been trying to do, what didn't happen with elected officials. You know, we have a big ribbon cutting, right? You know, they bring in this big warehouse and it's all great and they cut this ribbon. That's the end of it. You never hear any more from the business. You never hear anything more about from the elected officials. Where's that engagement piece? So one of the focuses that Cortney and I have, being in this position, decided we're going to make a focus of building this relationship. So why don't you talk a little bit about that and what we're trying to do there?
Sure. Again, someone born and raised driving up and down the Cedar Grove Road, Highway 480, that transition has been magnanimous. That word doesn't even justify what's happened over the last 25 years. So it's interesting. We met with Prologis recently, and it's like, we see your buildings, we see that logo, but we need to see you in our communities.
Right, yeah.
You know, we need to see you be a partner with us. And that's a huge opportunity because they are here and they are doing things for our community. Make no mistake. The taxes and the things that they're paying and they're building, and that is definitely a benefit. However, them getting involved in our community, showing up for our kids, youth sports.
Yeah.
That's a really big deal. So that's our challenge. We're spending a lot of time and energy on these relationships to kind of show, here's some opportunities. The Aquatic Center, so 3, 4.
That's 3 times. Oh, look at see, that's why she's on the
There you
team. See that? See that?
But so we
can
are
learn something
working
from
to
that.
make sure that whatever we're doing top notch. We want it to be beautiful. We're going to show up for our community in the way that we put the park together. That remodel is going to be beautiful, and we're going to be proud of it. The veterans corner of the park.
Yep.
You know, of course, that's near and dear to my heart. It's going to be beautiful. When people drive by, they're going to see it, and they're going to know we spent time and energy, blood, sweat, tears went into making that beautiful.
Right.
And we can partner with our big box. We can partner with our Prologists and our Brownings to help make that happen.
Yeah, in every one of these meetings, I use the cuss word warehouse.
Right.
Because that's what a lot of people
You
believe
have to
in.
put money in your swear
swear
jar
jar.
now?
Not for that one. Okay, for
Should have to
everybody
put
here,
more money in there for-
say warehouse. I would definitely have to get a loan. I think the thing that I want people to know about warehouses is I get the frustration over the years. I really do. That you saw all these big boxes coming up and you saw fast food, but you didn't really see the community grow and having services here. So I get the frustration, but you have to change the narrative. You have to be, first of all, understand your community. You have a major artery. We've talked about this many times, a major artery running right through the middle of your city. You're 15 minutes from the airport. You are going to see a large influx of distribution and manufacturing.
Yeah.
And so if you accept that and you know that's your revenue base, take that revenue base and actually turn it right back into the community. Right. And again, we mentioned everything that we're doing. We're talking about the $30 million loan. We have another additional $10 million that are going into the park plans in the town square and the skate park without raising one penny of taxes.
Right.
And if you understand where that money comes from, then it is good for the folks that live here to know that we didn't raise their taxes at all. But we're also making sure that we have so much more we can offer because of our development. We've never made that partnership work like that. And then with Cortney's mentioning about these developers in the industrial park, is to get to know them. I think once we start talking to them, they do want to be a part of our community. They don't know, and we want to be reasonable what we request because of what they already got invested. But there are ways for them to be, and whatever that is, we're going to continue to work on that. But if we have that kind of relationship with them, and then obviously talk a little bit about the downtown.
So the relationships that we're building, we are in the midst of building that relationship with the Cedar Grove Industrial Parks and the JOMs and those manufacturing types. Yep. What we have put in place and now going to almost 2 years strong is a community that's the businesses on Buckman Street.
Yeah.
So we just get everybody in a room and we just talk about how can we help your business? What are your needs? What are your wants? How can this community support what you're doing? Because we want those folks rooted, right? And so we meet and we talk about everything from, a block party. How can you get involved? How can you help to decorating for Christmas?
You know what they have there? Beer.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Beer. Salt
I could
River.
guess.
Salt River's going to be there. St. Patty's Day. It's going to be beer. I'll be there.
Wine slushies. Don't sleep on the wine slushies. Thank
Beer.
you, Brant's Gold.
Oh yeah, France.
Yes. So we want to, in those business meetings with the businesses on Buckman, we want the elected officials to show up and show that support. We want community members showing support. And then we also want to let them know what we want as a community. What are we looking for? So let's discuss where the open space is, what would fit well. And so it's just this open dialogue of keeping our best foot forward. What's the next step? Never getting stale. We want to have foot traffic, family-friendly businesses.
The connectivity piece.
Yeah, that's
right?
that's one of the coolest things I think that's going on is the downtown kind of revitalization, the small businesses coming back, kind of a walking where you can walk down the street and go.
You just want the ice cream, don't you?
No, I think it's. I just
Yeah,
think it's
you
cool
want the
because
ice cream.
every
Eli
time I
wants ice
go,
cream. Love the
every time I
pizza.
go to somewhere like
pizza.
Bardstown, you know, what I mean, you see Bardstown, and you see people walking down the old buildings. It's nice and stuff. You want something like that for your community.
Yeah. So fast forward 2 years from now, when the dust is settling, now we do have that beautiful town square. We do have the Veterans Park. We do have the whole disc golf, everything in the park. And then when you walk out, you can grab some wine. You can grab a pizza, some
beer,
ice cream,
and then eventually we'll be able to walk to the aquatic center and all that too.
Exactly.
You know, we're gonna try to connect all that.
Exactly.
And we're working on that. So the two major arteries, when we talk about connectivity, the sidewalks is a big part of this, right? You know, again, all of the aquatic center, and the playground and all of the things we're doing. But if you think about it, you got to get there and be able to walk around. So we have two major projects that are going to be working over the next year. It's going to be the downtown walking through Joby Hall over to the aquatic center, Cart Country, and then the hotels. And then the other piece is from Bullitt Central to have a connectivity to be able to walk safely. We're actually going to turn the sidewalk on the back side of that strip mall till you get to Fred's.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to change that. It's making it safe instead of anywhere close to Conestoga because everybody walks there. I'd rather have a person on a bike ride down that sidewalk coming on the backside of parallel with 65.
Yeah.
And it'll run you to the strip mall at Freddy's. And then from there, you'll walk on, and then you'll see the pop shelf. Then you'll walk right to the skate park. And then the library's just a block down.
Yeah, right.
So we're going to have that connectivity piece. And then we're going to do other areas. But those are the two major ones. But also, we're talking about pocket parks. These are, I call them satellite playgrounds. We're going to try to put in some of the neighborhoods so they don't, if they can't make it to the big park, that at least they can walk 5 minutes with their two kids and just enjoy the playground area.
Right, yeah, yeah.
So we're going to do a lot of things like that. I just think that most people today, if you ask them what they think of Shepherdsville today versus what they thought maybe 3 years ago, it's a whole lot different. It's 360, not even a 180. It's a 360 because they're seeing things now being done that maybe have been said in the past. Oh,
Yeah.
we're going to do this.
Wouldn't 360 be back?
I'm just saying.
I mean,
I was doing it in my head.
I meant just the dynamic of it being.
We did a
540. We're doing 540. We get Eli to make one comment.
You're gonna have to learn all these. You're gonna have to learn all
He
these
comes in
rotations.
with a
if-
zinger.
Yeah, it's actually a fair comment, but it is more about the double the change. It's that much that it's. I don't want him back on the program.
hey,
I'm just
once
kidding,
once
we
you
got
get to that skate park done over there, them kids will tell you about all these rotations.
So
they know.
yes. So a good thing about the skate park, I've been going to the schools a lot and just meeting with the kids, and I read to the classrooms, and I got to tell you, it is so cool. I'm sitting there talking, and I mentioned the aquatic center and all the fun things at the playground. I mentioned skate park. I mean, their heads pop up like, oh.
I bet. Yeah.
I mean, and the little girls are they're just as excited as the guys. I'm like, okay, let's get this thing on. Not me though. I'm not gonna be on the skate park.
Why not?
Bubble wrap, maybe.
Right.
I'll
Yeah,
bubble wrap
bike.
in
You
it.
can do bike, BMX bike.
Travesty waiting to happen.
Yes, yeah. Workman's comp, maybe. I don't know what's going on.
rollerblades.
Yeah.
I don't. No, no. Maybe after beer.
That'd be worse.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, it would be really bad. But I think it's exciting. And this is what we want people to, when they listen to these podcasts, I want them to see the enthusiasm from Cortney and every guest that we have on here and to get the idea this is all happening and it's going to happen in a very short period of time.
Yeah.
And I think that's the piece we want people to know.
Well, just think about just a couple of years ago, the cleaning up the exits, just the on ramps and the off ramps, and just beautifying those right there as you're coming into Shepherdsville.
Yeah,
that
it
area.
was a
Wendy's.
jungle back there behind Wendy's.
It's beautiful now. Like truly, those things matter. You
Yeah.
just the level of pride that you have in your community continues to increase the more we beautify, and some of that is simple landscaping.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're getting ready to do more. Matter of fact, with what we're doing at the Wendy's area, we're actually going to put fencing down through there. We're going to redo and resod all that. There's a couple places we got to clean up. I want that to look the best in the whole place.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Public Works, and for Christmas, we are lighting that corner up. We're going to light up. So
Oh, really?
when you
There you
come over, when you're coming from Bullitt Central and you cross 65, you will know that Adam Shepherd is right there at 44. I mean, it's going to be, and we're going to light it up for the Christmas time. But we really want people to know this is our town.
Right. Yeah.
Shepherdsville is on the move, and I can safely say this, that throughout the state and people we talk to and KLC, the Kentucky League of Cities, people are noticing that Shepherdsville is really investing back in the community, and it takes a lot of good people. I'm excited to be the mayor of that, but I'm no fool to understand that you have good people, and Cortney included. We really have a good group of people focused on making this community as good. Because I get calls all the time. Different organizations, how can we help? Hey, can we help with cleaning? Can we help with raising money? Absolutely. And we talk about that. That goes back to the community thing. I think everybody's wanting to be a part of this. And
It's that contagion.
that contagion. Don't you like that? I like that because,
Well, I think when we get a little further into the park beautification,
Oh, yeah.
we have a gym right there. The Salt River is so fun. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And so Bonnie Enlow mentioned a couple of
Yep.
meetings ago, she really wants to organize, and we're going to go down there and clean that river up.
Yep.
Yeah,
and
that'd be
so
good.
it will
Yeah.
because it's beautiful down there. The
Yeah.
water running is such a peaceful sound. It's therapeutic. So to be able to embrace some of these, Shepherdsville's beautiful. We just have to showcase it.
Yeah. One of the things that's on the agenda, we just haven't figured out the details yet, is we're going to have a bike trail from the city park to Bernheim. That's going to be really cool. So we're working on that. Obviously, we have plans. We have phase
That's
two.
a long bike trail.
I was gonna say.
It's okay.
I was
It's
doing
okay.
it in my head. I was like, City Park to it. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, so and well, that takes a cooperation from Steve Henry and his group and other folks like that have money to invest and help us with it, because it is there's going to be a cost in it. But wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
We can call it the
Yeah.
Bourbon Bike Trail, something. I mean, seriously, I mean, we're bourbon.
Yeah.
And we can call it whatever we want
Well,
to.
if you're going down there
But
by
it-
Burnham, that is where they all
that's
are.
it.
for
That's
sure.
right.
Yeah.
So, but I think for us, if you put all this together, Courtney and we've been working on this together since we started this whole thing. When we did start it, we had the mission of, are we really going to meet that goal? And I think we're more than halfway through, and we have already things in place, like what we do at City Hall with all of our different things on Saturdays, different sports events for our kids. We try again we talked about the Bullet Blast City Fair. With the rides being free.
Yeah.
That was a big impact. A lot of people were very appreciative of that.
Yes.
And, we can only hope that from a nationwide that we get inflation a little bit under control.
Yeah.
But I mean,
That'd
it's
be
still
nice.
It's still a challenge for folks, to just go get groceries.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Eggs.
gas is down.
Yeah, gas is down.
Yeah, gas is trying to go
Yeah,
down.
Appreciate
and it's
that.
going to continue to do that. So those things continue. We put there's more money in folks' pockets so they can do more things in our city. That's what we want. We want you to be 5 minutes away from something with your family activities instead of being 30 minutes, whether it's
Right.
north or south.
Right.
Absolutely. In the name of families, the amount of free, zero cost activities in Shepherdsville right now, it's just more than I've ever
Yeah.
known since I
Right.
have been
I mean,
here
every
and raised
event,
here.
every event that's in the park,
You
can
have
go-
access
yeah.
to 5 or 6 sports that, there's clinics year round that you can come right here to City Park. You can learn a little bit about
Shakespeare in the park.
baseball. That's culture. We've not had a lot of that. Being able to come to the Bullet Blast and ride for free, being able to just walk a few minutes and have a park in your neighborhood, have a full access, accessible park
Yeah.
in the city park. That's going to be just accessible to everyone.
Yeah, fruit truck invasions.
Yeah.
Right.
whiskey,
That's
wine,
what I'm
alcohol,
saying. Like, there's
stuff.
all these free community
Skate park.
events. The skate park.
Skate park, yeah.
Yeah, I'll be watching.
Not everybody
it
has
is
a skate
so
park.
exciting.
No, they don't. And,
Right,
and,
yeah.
and again, it's in a very safe space, right?
Back
Think
whenever
about
I used to try to pretend to ride skateboards,
You told me that-
I wish I had a skate park.
See?
That would have
That's
been
so
nice.
it.
funny.
I think you're going to be out there. Yeah,
Oh, I don't know about
We're gonna
that.
have to. There's somebody in there
I-
at nighttime. Yeah,
I don't know
think it's
about
Travis.
that. I can still ride. I can't go down ramps.
Well, my
Your
son-in-law.
skateboard's at our house, so
Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
right, yeah.
So my son-in-law is really good. He's still like I bet you he'll be out there.
Oh, really? There you go.
Yeah. So it's good stuff. But listen, Courtney, I know we are so excited to be working together. We got great partners with us, and I really do appreciate it. I make a lot of good decisions. I think this is one of my better ones.
said, "I
Having an I do make a lot of
think.
good. I hope.
You make good decisions.
Yeah, but we have Courtney, and we have so many other good people
Abs-
that are doing good stuff for us. And I want people to continue to know who these folks are. Everybody knows who Courtney is. I know that, but I just wanted you to know what she does with the city and our partnership. And we've got some really good focuses. But just as these things get built,
Yes.
I can tell you the excitement. I
It
get
is.
excited as I see some progression. But we're going to have more information out there. We're going to have people see virtual tours of what's going to look like in there, and you can actually go. We're going to be promoting that. You can go to a website and a link that shows you the progression every day of the
Oh, really?
construction on the aquatic
That's cool.
center. Yeah, cool stuff. So we want people to see, get excited, but it's going to be a game changer. And I won't do 360 again, Eli. I'll just do the 180 or 540.
There you go.
Good job.
360 is okay if you want to end up where you started.
No,
We
I-
don't.
540, you still take a break at like where you used to. Like,
So now we're going to spend 5 minutes discussing.
really feel
I only,
like
I
180 is
only,
the only
I only
answer,
know all
you
these numbers because of Tony Hawk Pro Skater. So
There
It's
you go.
hilarious.
Yeah, see, it's all good. But listen, and I've been going to the schools, and what's really fun about going to the schools, I bring them all up into the middle of the classroom, and I said, "Do you want to yell?" And they go, "Yeah." And I go look at the teacher. Can they yell? And she says yes.
they're
And
like,
so
they do all the time anyway.
yeah, yeah, but I let them really scream this out. So we do the 1, 2, 3, love, peace, chicken grease. So that's what we need to do, Miss Courtney. So Courtney's been around me long enough to hear love, peace, chicken grease. What, a gazillion times?
Literally, have 2 mugs. Watch my kids drink out of them.
Oh yeah, that's
Love,
right.
peace, and
So
chicken
that-
grease.
Yeah. So
I thought she was going to hit you there for a second.
that could have been.
That would have been this hand, right hand.
Yeah, it'd have been a right
This
hand.
was my coffee drinking.
I got you.
Yeah. Well, listen, I
Absolutely.
love having you on the show because again, we get to keep talking about all the exciting things for the community.
Yes, community,
So-
community.
Yep, and you're obviously going to come back always to come back, and we just keep doing the progression, keep talking about where we're at. So our next time it's going to be so exciting.
Thank
when
you
get back
guys
on
for
the
doing
show.
this also. This
Yeah.
is amazing.
No
What a
problem.
great way to,
you're
get some access to folks and spread some
They
good
done-
news. We have great news.
Yeah, I try to be careful of saying too many good things about him. I break out in a rash. I do. Every time I start saying something nice about him.
Anytime he says
I'll
anything
say-
good about Eli, he doesn't show up for 3 weeks.
Yeah, I break out in a fever. It's really tough. No, all kidding aside, they do a great job with this. So, but thank you guys. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. Yeah, I'm just saying nice things. I can already tell I'm feeling a little dizzy. No, it's all good. No, Eli, thank you. Travis,
What?
Eli, I got.
It's okay. My mom does that too.
You saw the wheels
I'm not your
turning.
mama though.
Wheels turning.
I do. But anyway, thank you guys for doing this. All right, we ready to go?
Absolutely, absolutely.
1, 2, 3.
Love, peace, chicken grease.
Thank you all for listening and watching.
Thank you.
We'll be back soon.